They eat mainly wood and a thin film of microscopic organisms on the surface of the wood. The species is found around several island chains in the Pacific Ocean at depths of hundreds or thousands of feet. The crabs are tiny, only a couple of inches long. They congregate around trees that were swept out to sea or around the hulls of sunken ships. They probably bite off small bits of wood, then use a series of strong teeth to grind it down. Colonies of bacteria and fungi in their stomachs produce enzymes that break down cellulose, the chains of sugar molecules that make up the wood. These crabs aren't the only creatures to take advantage of fallen trees and boats. So do many worms, other crustaceans, and other forms of life. They confirm that you can find a critter that'll eat just about anything on the ocean floor, no matter where it came from. Science in the Sea is a production of the University of Texas Marine Science Institute and is available as a weekly podcast at scienceandthesea.org. I'm Holly Brawley.
Hi, I'm John Elway. Did you know that John Elway's Crown Toyota is the largest volume Toyota dealer in the Inland Empire? Here to give you the details is the General Sales Manager, Kara Brindley.
Well, at John Elway's Crown Toyota, we listen to you. And ever since we've changed to our new process, we post our one price, which is our best price, up front on every single vehicle. Now, customers are telling me they look forward to buying their next car from us.
So come visit John Elway's Crown Toyota today in the Giant Ontario Auto Center where the 10 and 15 meet.
One price, simple, no games.
Do you have a broken window or rock chip on your vehicle that needs repair? Give us a call at HM Auto Glass, 951-858-5190. HM Auto Glass is your locally owned and operated auto glass specialist, offering low cost and high quality auto glass repair and replacement. We also work with all major insurance companies and offer free mobile service. So call us, 951-858-5190. That number again is 951-858-5190.
Here's your Money Minute with Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
If you follow the markets, you've probably been getting seasick lately. But what if I told you that market volatility can be a good thing? If you're a bargain hunter, this is your coupon. So keep your shopping list handy. If you're a long-term investor with plenty of time before retirement, the money going into your 401k each month will buy more shares when the markets are down. And if you have a good financial plan, you can relax while others worry, because that plan will carry you beyond today's headlines. Of course, you should always consider professional guidance before making any financial decisions. That's your Money Minute. I'm Mo Ansari.
For more tips on investing during market volatility and other investment topics, listen to Market Wrap weekdays at 5 p.m. on this station. For a free consultation with Mo Ansari, call 800-388-9700. That's 800-388-9700.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and you hear me every weekend on my show talk about the importance of a financial plan, planning for your retirement, planning for your children's college education fund. Unfortunately, most people don't realize that they need to set up a foundation before any good financial plan can come into place. That's where life insurance comes in. Now, most people think life insurance is just an expense, but it's not. It can be a way of life, a standard of living when someone, the breadwinner, is literally removed out of the picture because of a premature death. Look, I believe in it. I've got life insurance for my family, and I want you to find out how easy it is to get life insurance and even qualify through some new non-medical life insurance policies. Look, my friends at eFinancial can help you do this. They're standing by to give you your free life insurance quote today. Call 866-807-9961. 866-807-9961 for your free life insurance quote today. And don't forget to tell them Steve sent you.
Other talk stations use words like savage. Sounds brutal. Hey, it's all good. Your superstation, AM 1050, News Talk KCAA.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children lie?
Welcome, everyone, to Smart Health Talk Radio Show. Yeah. So we're here at 7 o'clock, our new time, and I'm actually here in the studio after being gone for 3 weeks in Hawaii. You know, some of us just have to tough it out. Unfortunately, there was a big sewage spill on Waikiki Beach where I was staying, like right before I got there. We were surrounded by hurricanes, 5 at one time. It was pretty heavy duty. And, you know, this had never happened before, actually. It was actually a sign that there are some changes going on maybe on our planet here a little bit. Change in weather patterns. They'd actually had like regular weather patterns before that. And we're going to be playing a video. I hope that you're going to be able to go to kcaaradio.com and tune into Ustream so you can actually watch the video. I had a really great interview with Captain Hayden Smith from Sea Cleaners. Incredible guy. I mean, this guy was out there in New Zealand cleaning up the trash on the coastline. Of course, New Zealand's an island, so a lot of coastline, just like Hawaii. And the problem that's going on in our oceans right now is severe. It is just catastrophic. Just one statistic is by Alagita, who we've had on our show as well. And it's something like 3 billion pieces of plastic going every 72 hours into the ocean just through the LA watershed. That's just one little place. And I can't say little, LA is not little, but still compared to like China and some of the other countries that are really pumping the plastic into the ocean big time. There's so many different reasons why it's happening. It's affecting all kinds of marine animals. It's affecting our food. It's affecting the future of our ocean. And people think this is a big ocean, but really, one story he told, it was like 162 pieces of plastic were found in one turtle. And 3 of those pieces of plastic were from New Zealand, and the turtle was found on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. So they're not really sure, did the plastic go that way or did the turtle? But I would guess the plastic. I don't know if turtles swim that far. But this is an incredible interview, and most important, we're planning a party. That's right. That's one of the reasons Hayden was in Hawaii from New Zealand. It's called Ocean Aid, like Farm Aid. And this is going to be the party of the year. You're not going to want to miss it. It is going to be in Hawaii near Waikiki Beach, September of next year. So mark your calendars. And we are going to have some major bands. Artists are going to be there. Film. Just picture like Kcaa on steroids, only in Hawaii, which is like, I'm afraid, a lot more beautiful than Kcaa, Palm Springs area. So this is going to be a great time, and there's going to be major social media and people sharing information. And it's going to be probably the most educational event in history, and so I'm so excited to be a part of that. So please go to kcaaradio.com, click on Ustream, and you can see us right here in the studio, yeah? And you might want to check out my hairdo, because in the video you're probably going to be going, hey, Elaine, now you were obviously having a bad hair day, which I was after 3 weeks in Hawaii, swimming in the pool, swimming in the ocean. I mean, my hair was stripped, and oh my gosh, it feels so good today. And my secret, everyone, is I used our sun oxidants, pomegranate, jojoba, and grapeseed oil. And I tell you, you put this on your hair before you color your hair, and even like a little bit of the hair dryer, and then add this to your color. And I have the thinnest hair, the kind that like damages the most. You'll probably see it in the video, that big old frizzy do that I had going on there. But I tell you, you put this on your hair, and plus, while I was in Hawaii, I have freckled skin. I have the worst kind of skin, too. And I have a new super strength sun oxidants aloe vera lotion that's 10 times concentrated. Didn't even blister, didn't have any pain with sunburn. It didn't peel, and I'm telling you, this aloe, there is nothing else like it. 10 times concentrated, all organic. We have a big bottle too, and we have gel. So go check that out on Amazon, or just email me at elaine@smarthealthtalk.com. And another thing that happened to me while I was in Hawaii was, you may have heard of, there's a big salmonella scare with cucumbers. People are dying. Actually, they just prosecuted and convicted the first food-related case ever regarding peanut butter. And you may remember the huge salmonella contamination in peanut butter, because people see all these different kinds of peanut butter, from Peter Pan to the store brand, whatever, and they're all made in the same place. There is no big difference there. I worked in a nut factory before, and we would just change the machine with a different kind of cello bag. So it would be one expensive brand and a lower cost brand, and it was all the same nuts. So it's the same in the peanut industry, except there is a difference when we're talking organic. And if you listen to Smart Health Talk, my name's Elaine McFadden, and I'm a registered dietitian with a master's in public health. And so I'd hope that I kind of know about this stuff, and organic peanut butter is my only recommendation. And it's just the way that they do things with organic is completely different. We're free of pesticides. And while I was there, I did go out to eat. I did have some cucumber. Did not feel that great for actually even since I got back. And I started with my fire cider, which go look that up, fire cider. This is pretty unique stuff. Apple cider vinegar with honey, horseradish, all different kinds of herbs. I'm telling you, you mix this with the Weatherspoon Manuka honey, which is expensive, but it has a probiotic in it that helps your gut. I mix those two together. I'm actually feeling pretty good today. I highly recommend that. Also, I have some Rishi matcha green tea here, so I had that with some honey, and it really kind of fixed me up. And I have here a great eggplant from my garden. I just had to brag a little bit. See my eggplant? See how beautiful it is? The thing is, I got a bunch more. I only had 7 plants or something like that, and they're loaded with eggplants. And last night I just sliced it up. I put a little olive oil and salt on it. I took some fresh basil leaves from my garden and some slices of tomatoes, because when I came back I had a bunch of tomatoes waiting for me, and put that in a little toaster oven. And I tell you, that was my dinner, and it was great. So that's my recipe recommendation for the day, in case you have an eggplant, you're not sure what to do with it. And it's a lot better than frying it up and with breading, because that adds a lot of calories, okay? So let's see. I want to get to our video. I don't want to miss any of that, but I did want to mention Roundup. Roundup that is used on all kinds of GMOs. It's been determined by the World Health Organization to be cancer-causing. California has now passed a law saying that they're going to have to put cancer-causing on Roundup. And I tell you, I am so glad I have not been putting Roundup in my body. Woo! Yeah, I've been eating organic. I go to the farmer's market. I got my garden. I eat simply and without pesticides, without Roundup. Monsanto's not allowed in my body, let me tell you. And the one time I eat out, what happens? I get sick. So all I can say is control your food. Try and eat organic every time you can. I went to the farmer's market in Hawaii, and I'm doing an article on it. I took a bunch of pictures. No doubt the farmer's market is way cheaper, as much as 50%. I went to Whole Foods after I went to the farmer's market. Dragon fruit was like $3.99 a pound at the farmer's market, $5.99 at Whole Foods. So there you go. You know, you just have to be a forager, an organic food forager, and just go find the farmer's market. Chances are there's one right down the street from your house. Go to eatlocalgrown.com, and you can do a search in there, and you will find one. You will find one, and go check it out. You might actually have a good time, and you're going to find some fantastic produce. That's right. Some fantastic stuff. Okay, well, did I get through my announcements here? Yeah, pretty much. I just wanted to kind of let you know about these other products right here, and we are going to be starting this video with Captain Smith, and I hope that you're going to stay tuned or go to Ustream on Kcaa.com and watch this video. If not, you can just search Elaine McFadden YouTube, and you'll be able to find the Stop Ocean Plastic. And thanks so much for tuning in to Smart Health Talk, and we'll be here next Tuesday at 7 o'clock again. And please find us on social media, either Elaine McFadden or Smart Health Talk. Thanks so much. Welcome everyone to Smart Health Talk Radio Show, and here we are in the beautiful island of Oahu. Not too far from Honolulu, and as you can see, we have an incredible view of our beautiful ocean. And, you know, being a tourist here in Hawaii, I was pretty disturbed myself of finding debris on some of my favorite beaches. And those of you that have tuned into Smart Health Talk, you probably know that my name is Elaine McFadden. I'm a registered dietitian with a master's in public health, and you might even be thinking, Elaine, what are you talking about plastic for? Well, you'd be surprised to know that there may actually be plastic in your food. I'm talking about that fish on your plate, other foods that come from the sea. There are so many different things that we get from our ocean that are part of our daily diets that we may not even think about. But you know, New Zealand, and you know, you're from New Zealand, but you're here in Hawaii. So what brings you to Hawaii from New Zealand?
Yeah. We've been brought up here to really help with International Coastal Cleanup Day. To cut a long story short, Ocean Aid is a music festival taking place next year in September here on the island of Oahu, and we're looking to help build content for that festival, and being a part of International Coastal Cleanup Day helps us engage close to 5,000 volunteers, we believe, out on the coast, to actually activate them to be out there helping clean up and helping draw attention to the issue through Instagram uploads to sea cleaners to show the quantity of debris that's out there. We're going to bring together all of the rubbish that has been collected to show what a collaborated effort can do, and we're really focused on helping all of the local community groups that are here on Oahu already working. So we're assisting them by driving more volunteers to their programs, to their events that they're running, and that's what we've been doing over the last few weeks, helping coordinate that project in light of building essentially that content that we can show people's images throughout the festival as well.
Well, after listening to you say that, like, two things came to mind as far as the work that Sea Cleaners and at seacleaners.com, for anyone that wants to go check out their website as you're listening to this interview at seacleaners.com. And I was thinking, first of all, about what you were telling me earlier today about how the coastline is like a net that's catching this debris and the trash that is in the ocean, and how the coastline is really an efficient way to focus our energy on cleanup efforts. And when I'm thinking about an island, I mean, it's surrounded by coastline. So here we are in Oahu, and virtually all the coastline is one of these nets for this debris. And well, go ahead and why don't you explain to us how that works?
Well, first of all, the work at Sea Cleaners, we've always focused around the city centre itself. We believe if we can contain the rubbish at source, and each city is the source of this pollution problem that we're facing, we can clean up the cities and the local coastline of those cities. We're stopping that rubbish from entering the ocean. So here on Oahu, Honolulu has these same issues. There's debris coming off the streets and going out to sea, and there's particular areas that have accumulated local trash. However, where the Hawaiian Islands are situated in the North Pacific Ocean, they are also encountering another major impact, and that is from what debris is accumulating out in the North Pacific Gyre. And as the low pressure systems move down over the Hawaiian Islands, that debris is spat out on the coastline. So parts of the islands will accumulate debris direct from the ocean. Other parts of the coastline will attract debris that's locally sourced trash. So we're here to try and bring together our knowledge and understanding of rubbish movements and what's happening, but primarily getting out and cleaning it up and activating volunteers to help with that process.
Well, and I went to the site yesterday of a cleanup effort, and I just could. We'll be posting the pictures on our Instagram and website if you guys want to see what Captain Hayden and his volunteer group picked up in just one small section of the coastline here. It's shocking. And the diversity of things, everything from, a television to a fast food plastic cup. It's just amazing to me. And so you guys said that the International Coastal Cleanup Day is one of the main reasons that you came here to Oahu. And that is happening on the 19th of September, right?
Correct.
And we're talking, international, so that means that people are involved in this effort all over the world,
Correct.
Pretty much.
That's right.
And is that, so that's on coastlines, obviously, but is that just ocean coastlines, or can that be like lake coastlines as well?
That's pretty much where anyone wants to get out and help clean the ocean. Take a lake, for example. That lake will flow to the sea, so all waterway networks are connected. So if we can clean upstream and run those lakes, absolutely, we're there doing that too. So the more concentrated effort, it's really about getting people out to see the issue, to be a part of the solution, to actually have their understanding of what issues we are facing.
Because you need volunteers.
It's always about getting volunteers.
You need volunteers, you need donations so that you can be doing, educating more people, getting more people involved, cleaning up more coastlines. And why don't you tell us what it's like to be a volunteer with Sea Cleaners, to actually be out there picking up the trash? Like, what kind of changes do you see in people from when they first come down to volunteer for this, by the time that they're done picking up all this trash and maybe listening to a little bit of education that you provide, or visiting your website, which is full of educational videos and really fun ones for the kids and for teachers that want to help educate their students. I love your website for that, because they have animated videos that help teach in such a fun way for children. They'll really start to get it. But what I've heard Captain Smith say that I really got through to me is being involved. Coming and volunteering is what really makes the biggest difference, because people start to feel a connection with what's happening that way. So why do you tell us what you see, the changes in your volunteers from when they first get involved to after they start getting educated?
Right. Well, we run boats on a full-time basis, so our crews are out on the coastline every day. we now have our vessels operating 95% of the time with volunteers on board, and that's been a remarkable turnaround from when you first start a project to now have that support behind the project. We've actually now coordinated over 100,000 volunteer hours of support behind the project, and what we're seeing is not only are we getting return volunteers that come out with us on that daily basis, but we're now getting information sent to us from volunteers that have been out. By being out with us and doing the work with us, that's where the education comes in, the component comes in, because people get to see firsthand the issue and how easy it is to actually make a difference. So not only do they come out with us frequently, we'll actually get updates every week from individuals, from groups to tell us that they've been out to their local beach and done a cleanup, and here's the statistics and here's how much time we spent doing it. So we're now actually building a great network of people behind the scenes that aren't necessarily coming out with us, but they've taken the adoption of particular areas and the willingness to want to actually contribute and be out there to help on a greater scale, essentially, without having to make the trip down to come out on the boat, on a boat with us. They're taking responsibility for their own backyard.
Well, and in my mind, I'm seeing, one of your volunteers or people that start to get involved and get educated. When you're at the beach or when you're anywhere, and you have a piece of trash in your hand, really thinking about that trash. And I remember you teaching me that overflowing trash receptacles can be one way that the plastic is getting in the ocean. So if you see a trash can and it's overflowing and you have trash, you should probably think twice about, should I put my trash in that receptacle because it could possibly fall out? You said that like dogs and birds and...
That's right. There's a number of ways that debris, it's not just your individual dropping stuff onto the ground. You've got cats and dogs will rip open rubbish bags. Birds will pull stuff from bins. Wind will blow it out of bins. You'll have pickup trucks driving down the road with insecure loads that will fly out. Light debris will blow out of a car window when you're traveling down the freeway. There's so many different avenues that this debris is heading into our open environment, and the ocean is downhill from everywhere. So gravity, and when you have it accumulated with rain, and the rain washes the streets clear of rubbish, everything goes through the stormwater system and heads out to sea through the local waterway networks before it's out into our harbours and our oceans.
Well, as we look out about this incredible ocean with this, fantastic view, the ocean, it seems so massive. And people think, one little bit of trash, that's not really that big of a deal. But Kcaa, Captain Moore, who was out there and discovered the Pacific Garbage Patch, which really isn't, according to him, it isn't necessarily like an island. It's more like a soup of plastic that, with the currents, has been brought together into this huge area within the Pacific Ocean. One of the statistics that came from the Kcaa group was that every 72 hours, 2.3 billion, I said billion, plastic fragments are going into the LA watershed out to the ocean. And we may think that the ocean is, so massive, but why don't you take it down to like what you see firsthand and kind of get us thinking about this contribution that all of us are making to that pollution in the ocean, not consciously even, but just with the types of products that we buy.
Yeah, well, I guess to put it in perspective, if we take one sea turtle out of the ocean, the science that our team partners have worked on and the crotches that have been done on one particular sea turtle, they found over 162 pieces.
Yeah,
of
we have
plastic.
this in the background right here.
That's right. These are all small fragments that were collected up on the North Shore, and it's all photodegraded pieces of plastic. It's plastic items that have broken down but remain consistently plastic. They don't biodegrade, they don't disappear, they just move into smaller and smaller particles of plastic, becoming what we call microplastics. And it's those ingested pieces that inside this one turtle had so many pieces that it ends up killing them. Now, it's not just the plastics that are being ingested, there's also entanglement issues, whether it's from rope or nets from the fishing industry that is out there, or whether it's actually your cooler six-pack ring holders that animals are swimming through and getting entrapped into. There's so many different methods.
It could be the plastic from the ships as well, the floaties that come on the fishermen use.
That's right, we find buoys all over the place, but there's so many different varieties. So with regards to the consumerism and the packaging, I know personally I do everything I can to avoid plastic products in regards to buying a drink bottle. That's right, at the point of purchase. My personal consumer habits around buying a cold drink on a hot day are actually, how's that packaged and what's going to be the best option for me to buy a glass bottle or an aluminium can full of whatever drink I want to drink.
Because then the way I look at it, when I make a purchase, I have now become responsible for that product. It's my product and it's also my trash. And so being a responsible consumer is like making sure that you have a plan for that trash, where it's going to go. And I just love it when my recycled trash can is like full and my trash can has like hardly anything in it. And I know that you say I don't buy those products. They're not in my home. I just choose to not buy anything in plastic. And people may say, what? That sounds like pretty drastic. How can you even do that? That's impossible. But that's how you live your life with every choice that you make of your purchase.
That's what we try to do. Of course, there's situations that you can't get away from.
You can't get away from, but the majority of the time.
That's right, and it's trying to make those conscious decisions around that. And that really comes down to essentially trying to put pressure onto the producers of those products to actually have their product packaged in such a way that it does have that environmental benefit.
Well, what I've learned from our past guests that run like some of the biggest recycling plants of all, universities that are completely recyclable, is even that you may think that you're doing a good thing. You're buying a soda bottle that has plant plastic in it, but that may not necessarily be a good thing. That makes it harder for it to be recycled because it isn't the pure PET.
Well, there's another argument to that as well, in regards to compostable plastics. Now, I'm not a scientist to absolutely know the background around this, but if there's one thing I do know, for compostable plastics, they require heat, and the actual nature of composting is about heat. When those plastic bottles are actually in the ocean, or plastic bags are in the ocean is essentially a cold place. Those biodegradable plastics remain consistently plastic out in the ocean. So we're still seeing those same ingestion and entanglement issues that are taking place with regular plastic through the biodegradable plastics.
And then you said that plastic is always plastic, which I always go back to like the cat in the hat. And you couldn't get rid of the ring no matter what, it just kept like actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we think, oh, this stuff is going to break down. It'll just kind of get absorbed by the ocean. But you were teaching me that there's like so many different types of plastic and different types of trash, and they each have their own kind of breakdown rate.
That's right.
And like, what would be some of the spans of years?
Some could only be a few months before they start to break down, whereas some could be 20, 30, 40 years, if not much more than that. Particularly, it's the sunlight that they're exposed to. The sunlight breaks a lot of the plastic down so quickly. So through that photodegrading process, that's where we find debris that we go to pick something up and it disintegrates into what seems like a gazillion pieces in your hands, and that's some of the issues that we're finding through that space.
Well, and you're saying, it's breaking down in, even like 6 months, but then, from everything else that I've learned from you about the microplastic, like you just said, plastic never goes away. It's just turning into a different size molecule. So if we have all this plastic in the ocean that's turning into all these micro particles, how does that impact the fish and even like the microorganisms, like the plankton and the really small food and the food chain within the ocean? I know that you're not a scientist, but I'm sure that, like I noticed that when you go to the seacleaners.com website and see some of the people that have joined Sea Cleaners efforts, you have some of the top scientists and some of the top people in the world even that know this stuff, that do know the science. And so I'm sure that you've learned from them. And, when you listen to these scientists tell you some of the statistics, like I was just quoting, the billions of plastic particles within 72 hours that are going through to the LA watershed, and then we multiply this by all the big cities in the world and the biggest polluters, which the United States is definitely a part of. China is one of the worst. What are we working towards? What kind of ocean are we really working towards? Because it's affecting the whole food chain. It's getting inside the fish, and then we eat the fish. I mean, I'm just like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? Are we headed for disaster?
I think the important part to note here is, even though we've been operating for over a decade, doing what we're doing, and the garbage patch has been found not too long before we started cleaning up as well. In the timeline of things, we're almost still sounding the alarm that the problem is here. It's going to take lifetimes of effort to change what is required to make those
what we've done already.
That's right. So we won't see an ocean free of plastic in our lifetime. There's that much debris out there. So it's really our job to ensure going forward that our shorelines remain clean, that we're out there, one, cleaning it up, educating people about what's needed to be done. We're able to encourage producers to change the packaging of their products. We're able to legislate against changes as well through a raft of different measures as well, from container deposit legislation that can be put in place so that if there's any plastic item with a barcode on it, has a value to it. So you'll find the kids will be picking up their pocket money from everywhere and there won't be any trash bin. That's one aspect. There's so many different avenues that we need to.
So you're saying to make like the deposit fee.
That's right. That's one option that can be considered. And again, I'm not a legislative.
But policy is an important part of it. Yeah, policy is huge.
So the education for the politicians has to be there as well. We need to be able to educate them about the issue too.
And that's like one of the things, kind of getting back to the reason that you're, here in Hawaii to begin with for this International Coastline Cleanup Day, which is on September 19th, everybody. And is there a central website for that effort? Like if people want to volunteer to clean up the coastline on September 19th and participate in this international global effort, where should they go to find like a local group that's doing something?
Ocean Conservancy is the main group behind International Coastal Cleanup Day. So, but with that, and certainly locally here in Oahu, we'll, on the Sea Cleaners Facebook page and Instagram sites, we will have that up later this week to show what can be done here and where the events are taking place here as well.
And, some people think, why do I want to go and, work and pick up trash? But do you find that people, like, getting together and doing an effort like that, I would think, you meet new friends, you guys are there for a common good cause and you develop camaraderie. I mean, do you see things, going on even after you leave? So like you said, the people continue to clean up, where maybe you go down to the beach and you see a piece of plastic, it's not even yours, but you pick it up.
Well, not even going down to the beach, walking down the street, you may see something now that after experiencing what you do through those clean-up days on the coast, you actually start to see how much debris is around everywhere. Up until that time, you're almost walking through life with your blinders on, because you aren't necessarily in tune with seeing it, and it's only when you actually go to start picking it up off the coastline that it becomes accepted that you start registering that, and unfortunately you see it everywhere.
Yeah, and I can see where that goes into the, like you said, the purchases that you're using. I know myself, after going out on Captain Moore's boat and learning about the microparticles, and I know that he even taught me that there's a certain layer of the food chain that's really susceptible within the ocean, that's key for food for other species, is being wiped out because of this microplastic, which I found very upsetting, because as a dietitian, I want people to have fish. I consider it a really healthy food, but if 7% of that fish is going to be plastic, or they're actually eating the plastic, which pictures of birds that had their entire bodies full of lids and lighters and all this different type of plastic, because well, actually, why don't you explain to us how that happens? How can a bird, their entire insides, be full of plastic? How can that even happen?
Well, they don't register man-made products. They live in an open world where everything should be either edible, or they can tell the difference in that manner whether they should be able to eat it or not. But because it's a man-made product, I believe it's the colour that they're attracted to, and they're expecting it to be food. And unfortunately, it's fed to their young. And yes, we are seeing so much of it.
They feed it to their baby.
Absolutely.
They feed a piece of plastic to their baby.
That's what we've seen as well. So there's so much of it happening. Again, I come back to the point that the work that we're doing out there has to be done to clean up the shorelines, to actually focus on bringing people support there, to be a part of it, to actually show what can be done collectively.
So volunteers, donations to organizations like yourself, because you guys are using this money for such a good cause.
We're putting it towards, absolutely, that's what we're trying to, that's the phase that we're going through at the moment. We're actually multiplying the pilot cell that we've developed around to different city centres around the Pacific Rim in the first place, or certainly around New Zealand, with the Pacific Rim in mind as the next territories that we want to cover.
And I'm just thinking about all the ways that all of us benefit from those efforts by, like you guys had something like 30, plus bags of trash that you took from that one area, that when you look at the picture of getting all these volunteers picking up all this trash, this benefits everybody.
Absolutely. Well, you'll also see how happy everyone was once we'd done it.
We're just like, wow, look at what we got rid of.
That was only 1 hour of work. It wasn't any more than that. We just got in there and did that in 1 hour. And it's amazing how much effort you can get through like that with a lot of people helping out.
To me, it's just kind of, getting rid of a bunch of junk out of your house that you really don't need, that you've been holding on to. It just feels so good afterwards, knowing that you've lifted that burden and seeing that trash gone from that area after bringing this group together for 1 hour. It's rewarding for all those volunteers. So they will never forget that they contributed in that. And I wanted to get back to the International Coastal Cleanup Day and the Ocean Aid Foundation, and I wanted to ask you about, you said that you have a goal to display all of the trash that you guys have collected. When I was on your website, seacleaners.com, I noticed that you're like, oh, here's containers of all the trash that we've been picking up. So you guys are actually saving this trash for...
In some cases, like for example with this particular event, so we've got these 8 events happening around the coastline here on Saturday. What we're doing with all of those events, previously each event had taken place and had been done, and then that trash was taken away. What we're going to be doing with it is from all the 8 events, we're bringing all of that collected trash to one spot where we're filling this shipping container. Then we're going to pull all of that rubbish out of the shipping container, so we're able to actually get an image of the collective group's work. So it's about showing what that collective group around the island can actually do together, rather than being 8 individual groups doing the work. We want to show one collective unity, essentially, of this greater community that's out doing this work. And the best way we know how to show that is through what we've done in the past with regards to filling containers. It's a way that everyone understands the measurement and the volume of a shipping container. They can see it with their mind's eye. So it's a great way for us to try and show that. And we want to try and put Diamond Head in the background as well for that image. So it creates a local Hawaiian image to show how much debris has come off this island.
Well, I'm hearing you say that, and I know that you went and met with the mayor of Honolulu. Was the mayor for Honolulu?
We were with the mayor's senior advisors.
Oh, senior advisors, that's right. Which will then be reporting to the mayor. And what do you feel like the response was that was the awareness even at that level low? And then what would you say to, because you're here in Hawaii, you're working on this one focus, you're actually a role model for what people could be doing, internationally, and they don't have your knowledge, but they can go to your website, they can get educated at seacleaners.com, and then they could actually be doing the same kind of things that you're doing to raise awareness, meeting with the local politicians and just educating them, or their field representatives.
Yeah, what came out of that meeting yesterday for us was truly the spirit of aloha and the willingness to get behind such a project. So we're very comfortable with where we're sitting and the support that we're getting from the city for the overall project, for what Sea Cleaners is trying to do locally here with International Coastal Cleanup Day and all of the other community groups, but also for the Ocean Aid Festival that will take place next year as well. So there's a great lot of work to be done still, but that spirit and that sharing of aloha is there, and it's all coming together very nicely for us.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the Ocean Aid event, and because this sounds like quite a party to me. You're talking like 30 to 40,000 people, hopefully in the beautiful park near Waikiki Beach. There'll be all different kinds of events going on, and there's a tie-in that's going to spur maybe one of the biggest plastic education campaigns ever done. And so why don't you help put a vision in our head of what the people behind Ocean Aid are hoping to plan for everyone, the great things that are going to be happening here, and how it's going to be interactive where everyone gets to participate, the time frame so they can start making their travel plans, and help us understand what kind of a party this is really going to be.
Well, in September 2016 is when the festival here in Oahu is set to take off, and what it's going to be is the whole festival is centered around raising awareness for trash in the ocean. So the work that we're doing now with cleaning up the coastline, with the work that essentially we're focused on here for International Coastal Cleanup Day, it's about getting everyone that's been involved in the cleanup to help develop the content that will be shown throughout the festival. So people cleaning up the coast, piles of rubbish collected, debris on the beach, plastic bottles full of plastic from the shoreline, so many different components that are going to be there, and the messaging around the entanglement issues, everything we've spoken about. There's a whole information alley essentially of understanding for the issue that we're faced with. Now, there's music from some really significant artists that I'm not at liberty to discuss at the moment, but it's sounding like a party that's going to have every genre covered. with major headline acts over the 3-day process that they're looking at, and it becomes interactive in a way that the individuals can actually play a part in actually filming the process, which all gets uploaded to the OceanAid website when it's fully fledged and up and running. And from there, anyone can be viewing it online through the already 30+ million database that this OceanAid team has behind it. So there's really a very unique concept, and from an educational capacity and the work that we have done ourselves over the last decade plus, it's the biggest educational message delivery that we've ever heard of, and that's really why we want to be a part of helping bring this to fruition, bringing in all of the other community groups that are doing such wonderful work, not only here on Oahu but around the world, to play a part in helping deliver their own messages and stories around what work they have been doing, to actually create an idea that is spreading such a positive message through people's idols, musicians. Everyone loves music. To have your favorite musicians reiterating the issues that we're dealing with is going to be, well, I'm excited for it, and I can't wait to see what's going to come out of it on the other side. So
yeah, because I feel like a lot of our big celebrity artists out there, because of the fact that they are an artist, it's easy for them to kind of tap into that appreciation of our planet, the beauty of our planet, the urgency of the action that needs to happen now. Because really, you're saying that in our lifetime we'll never see an ocean clean of plastic. How many lifetimes is it really going to take to get there? And with the volume that's going into the ocean every single minute of every single day, the action of stopping the introduction into the environment, it needs to start now.
Absolutely.
Right now. And so, you were talking about the music artists that are going to be at the OceanAid Festival. But it's not just about music, it's about art.
That's right.
As well. And this is kind of sounding like Kcaa on steroids to me, but it's going to be like really awesome. But you also, besides the music artists, you're getting the actual artists that have, create the beauty that you find like within this island in so many different ways. Through artistic means, and so how are those kind of artists going to be participating as well?
Well, what I also understand is this festival is definitely a festival for the people, and for the people of Oahu and the Hawaiian Islands. It's about bringing together certainly the locals to be a part of this project, to show leadership on how they can change their habits to actually make that difference and take ownership for what is happening in the Pacific, and through the artists helping to deliver those messages that I think is going to resonate not only amongst the local populations here and all of those that come over specifically for the event, but to their own networks, to their worldwide networks that they've got. They're able to share that through today's social media networks. It's amazing what can be done, and we think it's a strong way to do it.
So I'm thinking, the 30 to 40,000 people that are going to be attending this event, when they come, they're going to be exposed to all of that, the music, the art, and even like film that is trying to educate and depict the problems and solutions that we have available to us. So there is going to be like lots of different things for people to see and find ways to be educated, so pretty much something for everyone. And then the fact that all of the 30 to 40,000 people become an important part of the festival with, you're encouraging people to be taking videos about what they're learning.
That's right.
And then
what
sharing
they're listening to. That's right. And helping to move that through today's social media networks.
And getting it permanently put on like the OceanAid website so then they can share with other people, oh, look what I'm their own friends type thing, even though they can't be here, because we have millions of people around the world that are interested and would love to be here, but they can't participate. But with the way you have planned, you can help everyone kind of be here in a way.
That's right. That's the what this team has brought together for this project. There's great depth in it and great understanding from the music industry. We all want to protect it so that our future generations can continue to enjoy it in that same manner, that the artists buy into that as well. So whatever they can do to help, it seems to be a win-win from their perspective for getting involved to be a part of it.
Well, I'm really excited because I know the kind of influence that they can have. And just one tweet from them, that I'm here at the Ocean Aid Festival, and just, people are like, oh, Ocean Aid, what is that? And they go to the website. And so when that's happening, when this whole social media thing is happening, what do you expect the result of that to be, as far as like raising awareness, and what are you hoping to kind of action to happen after we start getting that education out there?
I actually hope it comes back down to that whole, the awareness behind it and changing people's habits, making people think twice about what they're doing with their rubbish or what they're doing with their purchasing to actually have a positive impact. It's the small steps that each one of us can take every day that we need to look at changing to ensure that we no longer see an ocean full of plastic. So disposing of your rubbish correctly in the right bin receptacle, or making the right purchases in the first place that are not going to have a negative impact on the ocean. And I think the other type of things, but you mix that with the music that's happening, the party that's going on, the buy-in to the whole thing from the artists and the individuals that are there or those that are watching it online, it's got a very, very unique way, and it's almost hard to forecast what that is going to be like and the outreach that it's going to have. I mean, it's one thing to talk about it now, a year ahead of it actually happening, but when it does happen, it's going to be exciting to see what comes from it.
Because I'm thinking like the impact one person has. Like if we started living more like you do, Captain Smith, and saying no to buying products that contain plastic. Because I even think when I'm tearing off a piece of plastic to put over a bowl that goes into the refrigerator or something like that, do I really need to use that plastic? And I'll take like a plate and put the plate on top of the bowl instead of using that one piece of plastic. And the fact that, the cap is on the water bottle is a different type of plastic, and those little pieces of, like the little pull tops out of a milk carton or something like that, some of those little pieces, we may think that they're insignificant, but Captain Moore was explaining that those are some of the most harmful.
Absolutely.
These little tiny pieces.
The little details of when you go to a shop to buy that milk bottle or maybe a loaf of bread at the same time. I know there has been legislative changes to eliminate plastic bags, certainly here on this island, but say no to that plastic carry bag. You can carry the milk and bread, bundle it up, or take your own reusable bag. Making those changes to actually how you do things as well.
Yeah, because the impact was like, what are some of when you're out there?
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind. Big Brother, mainstream media